right. Hey, Willie, before we dive into kind of this season up ahead and everything that's going on with these 2024 Sun Devils, this is your third year coaching your alma mater. Through those first two seasons, what were kind of some of the biggest lessons and takeaways that you had that you're applying towards 2024 and beyond?
I think, for me, just learning the landscape of college baseball, was a big challenge, and everything, all the trials and tribulations, challenges that it brings you. My first 2 years was a transfer portal and then the NIL. So, when talking to some other coaches across the country, and they're, saying, man, you chose probably the most difficult time to get into college sports with everything going on. But with that and coming into it with no experience, really, so to speak, and having to learn all that and figure out the college game, figure out roster management, that type of stuff, and recruiting. It was certainly challenging, but once you kind of try to start figuring that stuff out, it gives you a little more comfort, after a couple of years, knowing what to expect and trying to solve the problems that we have and ultimately bring the program forward.
So looking ahead to the non-conference slate, 5 tournament teams from last year are going to be appearing on that non-conference schedule for you guys. What do you want to see from your Sun Devils during that pretty tough non-conference stretch?
Well, I think that was, by design. We wanted to make our schedule tough, maybe a little too tough, I think, at times. I'm like, boy, we bit off a lot more than we could chew maybe. But at the end of the day, we don't want RPI to be a factor again. So that was the reason for the tough schedule that we put our guys, or going to put our guys through. But, at the end of the day, if we make it through that and are standing at the end of this thing, it's gonna have us battle tested, and I think that's gonna be great. But I look for our guys just to compete every day that they're going out there, compete hard, do play the game the right way. From a pitching standpoint, hopefully throw a lot of strikes, work ahead in the count, good tempo, offensive side of the ball, just stay aggressive, and hopefully create some chaos on the bases, all that type of stuff. And if we can do that, I like our chances.
So early next month, of course, they'll be heading out to Arlington, having the team play at MLB ballpark at Globe Life Field. Pretty stiff competition, Texas A&M, TCU out there. What are you guys looking forward to from that team? What do you want to get out of that experience?
Well, I think you said it. I mean, we're playing against a couple of really good programs down there. That'll be a nice challenge for us on the road. We get a chance to play in Globe Life, where defending world champion Texas Rangers, call home. So we'll get a chance to play in a major league stadium, hopefully with a lot of fans and a big crowd, good environment. So again, this is all preparation for hopefully if we get into the postseason and can make a run. I mean, we're going to have to be able to play in those type of environments, and not only playing them, but be successful against really good teams. So this is a good challenge for us and a good opportunity. And at the end of the day, it'll be a great experience for our players.
And of course, also looking a little bit perhaps even further ahead into the next season, of course, make the move to the Big 12. On this non-conference schedule, you have some future foes there in Kansas State, TCU, Texas Tech as well. Is that just kind of a coincidence, or maybe a little strategy of getting an early look at the future conference of foes?
I think a little bit of both. We looking ahead and us being in the Big 12 or going to be in the Big 12 next year, it gives us an opportunity to see TCU, which will be great. With a lot of our guys currently on our roster from the state of Texas, and then that's certainly a hotbed for recruiting that we're going to try to continue to exploit and get some players out of that area. And so it's good for us to go down there and kind of put our footprint hopefully in that state as well. Multiple meanings as to why we're going down there, but I think when you look at the overall experience that hopefully we'll take from it, that should be the paramount.
And looking at some of the key players on this 2024 squad, obviously starting at Ryan Campos, obviously how critical is he, not just at the dish, but also just, being a veteran catcher, handling a young pitching staff and a staff with so many new faces?
Well, I think Campy plays a huge factor in multiple areas, but, his bat speaks for itself, hitting, 380 over the last couple of years. And just what he does at the plate. But like you said, behind the plate as a catcher, I think that's important. Just his veteran presence that he's had, is going to be key for us. And the fact that he can also play left field too, which he'll find himself out there, on occasion as well, gives us some flexibility to get some other guys behind the plate if we need to. Trey Newman has done a great job this fall and spring. Josiah Cromwick and even Brody Briggs, could find themselves back there on occasion, and Campy gives us the flexibility of being able to move out to the outfield or DH, to keep him in the lineup. So, but that and just ultimately his presence in the clubhouse has been huge. Work ethic, the kids in there every morning, 6 a.m. It's tough to go to the ballpark and not find Campy there. Just getting his work in and doing things. So, that spills over into the younger guys on what true work ethic looks like. And I think that's important as we continue to build.
So, of course, pitching is going to be a very key focus for this squad after a couple of years of trying to find the right mix on the mound. How are you feeling right now about the potential starting rotation?
I feel confident in our guys. We have a lot of capable arms, that are capable of eating up innings for us. And, I'm naive to think that there might not be some bumps and bruises, especially with the youth of our staff. But the good news is we have a lot of good arms that are capable. So if one guy is not on that day, we'll have to be able to shift gears and go to the next guy. So the key is, hopefully managing it properly and getting guys out of there when they need to get the next guy in, that type of thing. But I like the way the rotation is stacking up right now with, we're going to go with Thomas Burns, a true freshman, on Friday, Connor Markle on Saturday. And then the big surprise is that we're happy to announce Tyler Meyer will be back in the rotation. After a couple years of battling the shoulder injuries that he's had, is throwing the ball extremely well. So we're giving him the nod on Sunday, and we feel good about our guys backing each of those guys up, and then as well midweek guys as well. Adam Behrens and will be a big key to that. And Ben Jacobs has been throwing the ball outstanding, another good left-hander that we've gotten. So we got a lot of options, which is good.
Speaking of Burns, what is it about him that makes him the choice, as a true freshman to be the opening day starter?
Well, we might be, pushing him a little bit, but I love the biggest thing for me that I can say why we feel confident is just obviously the stuff is really good. But the mindset and the mentality is great. He doesn't get fazed by much. I don't think he feels the pressure of being a Friday night guy as a true freshman. He's just going to go out and compete. And that's what we like about him. He'll give up some runs every now and again, but you never see his body language get flustered or anything like that. He keeps his composure very well. And, like I said, we might be rushing him a tad with him being a true freshman, but on the same token, man, how do you get experience without experience? So time to put your big boy pants on and get in there. And I think he'll be just fine.
Speaking of, obviously you have been able to play true freshman, have great success a season ago. Guys like Isaiah Jackson, Nuke Travis, Kian Vu as well. I mean, what improvements do you expect from that group, of now sophomores heading into their second year?
Well, I think, we expect them to take a step forward. They had good freshman years, but, quite frankly, it wasn't good enough. We were short last year. So those guys have to get better and continue to lead this team and take the experience they had last year and take a step forward with it. So I anticipate them being able to do that. New has done a great job in the fall and in the spring, getting himself prepared. Isaiah's continues to do a great job defensively in center field. And I look for him to take a step forward offensively as well. We mentioned Campy. He was a sophomore last year, junior this year, but there's guys that we anticipate taking good strides moving forward.
You announced not long ago that Nick McLean's going to miss some time due to injury. For any of our listeners who might have missed that announcement, what does the timeline look at this point right now, and how do you kind of feel such a key player's absence in the short term?
Well, I think, obviously that was disappointing that what happened with Nick, especially with how hard he's been working this fall and spring. But he's ahead of schedule. He got his cast off yesterday and is already starting the rehab process with moving the hand around and getting that ready to go. He was taking fly balls yesterday, obviously not throwing, but continuing to get his work in, which is great. So, if I'm being very aggressive, I would like to see him hopefully back by Globe Life, the Texas series down there. I think that's being very aggressive and optimistic. If he does, I'd be really happy. But probably more realistically, the Oregon series following that would be something that we're targeting. if he can come back sooner, it would be a nice, pleasant surprise for us.
Jacob Tobias is a guy who just kind of seems to quietly get the job done. Not a whole lot of fanfare, but just a guy who puts up numbers and a key part of that lineup. What are you expecting him now, as he's heading into his third year?
Toby's, he's kind of the, like you said, not, I want to say the forgotten one, but he's the one that just kind of does his job every day, and is a rock in that lineup, RBI producer. You're probably going to hit cleanup most of the year, fourth or fifth, for us. And, I think that's obviously an important spot in the lineup when you're hopefully driving in a lot of runs. And we expect him to do that again this year. He's done it in the past couple of years, and we don't expect anything less out of him this year. And he's another guy we expect to take a step forward. And then, defensively, he's done a great job getting more mobile at first base and saving runs over there. And I continue to set the bar high for him on a defensive level as well. So I think, Toby's just, like you said, the kind of that guy that just goes about his business, does his job every day, and look up at the end of the year, and he's been a heck of a run producer. So I expect the same out of him this year.
Brandon Compton's may not be a household name at this point, but is very an intriguing name at this point. Looks like he'll get a shot. What do you think he could potentially bring to this table?
Brandon's a guy that's still learning, a lot of things, and we'll need to make some adjustments, but he has, light tower power, incredibly strong young man that mishits balls and plays pepper with the batter's eye, when he mishits them. So he has that kind of strength that other people don't have. Fun to watch, but there's going to be some growing pains, I think, with him a little bit on, continuing to learn how to hit at this level. And do I think he can do it? Absolutely. He's work ethic is no problem when it comes to him. He's in the cage all the time trying to refine his swing. And then, don't forget about him on the mound either. I don't see him early on helping us out on the mound, but as he continues to progress and move forward, that's a mid 90-mile-an-hour arm from the left side. So if we can get him more fine-tuned in the zone, I expect him to do big things for us in the future as well on the mound.
Roster turnover is obviously such a big part of the sport across the nation. Another year with a lot of new faces here. From head coach's perspective, what's your process in getting so many of these new guys kind of locked into your style of ball?
Well, I think that's part of the challenges that we talked about earlier, right? And the college landscape that we're faced with is, hopefully getting these guys to buy in that this is a 3 or 4 year commitment here, versus a one and done and flying the coop and going somewhere else and chasing a few dollars going somewhere. This program is special, and if you do it right, it's going to set you up for the rest of your life. So getting guys to understand that and buy into, in an ever changing world where it's cool to go jump to the next shiny new toy. Being locked in and hopefully building the program that this is special. You're part of something bigger than yourself, and guys realize that, and hopefully guys want to stay here. And we hopefully moving forward don't have the size of roster turnover year in and year out that maybe other programs do. But that's our focus, is trying to stabilize and get guys that that want to be here, that are locked into being here. And occasionally, if we have to use the transfer portal to bring in a guy or two to fill a need, great, fine. But ultimately, we want to build with our incoming freshmen every year and stack those guys on top of each other. And I think that's hopefully how we're going to build a sustainable program.
Between the freshmen, the JUCO guys, and the D1 transfers, who are some of these newcomers that really kind of caught your eye and may have some Sunnyvale fans buzzing here in the early part of the season?
I think, looking from the offensive standpoint, Harris Williams, he'll be hitting leadoff for us, is a nice piece that we picked up. Very capable bat, does a lot of things on the base paths that'll make you, that'll open some eyes, just because he's an electric base runner and has been getting on base a ton, granted it's scrimmages, but I look for him to have a nice year for us. JUCO route, Kevin Carstetter, from the College of Florida is a nice bat that'll be kind of in the middle of the lineup to start the year. RBI producer, he'll probably play second base for us, which will be a key position certainly. Josiah Cromwick will get some playing time, right-handed bat from Oregon, whether it's behind the plate or in the outfield here in the absence of Nick McLean. He'll find himself in the lineup here and there. So those are the guys kind of from the offensive standpoint. On the mound, I mentioned Ben Jacobs, a kid from UCLA that transferred over, is a nice left-handed arm that is going to earn certainly a lot of innings on the mound. We just continue to look for those guys to be an influence. And then, a lot of the rest of the pitching staff is freshmen, with the exception of, Connor Markle coming over from Grand Canyon, will be good. And Hunter Omelet, another kid from Grand Canyon, that's both of those guys are seniors. So that they should factor into the mix. Sean Fitzpatrick, kid from Arkansas, nice left-handed arm that is kind of funky, that he'll go through the lineup once or twice, depending on the team we're facing. So those are guys that'll all contribute a significant amount.
It seems that most of the discourse around NIL these days is centered on football, men's basketball, and in terms of the coverage and attention. But from a baseball perspective, what are you seeing? Obviously in a sport that is comparatively fewer scholarships to hand out, what is the challenges and opportunities on the NIL front for major college baseball these days?
It's very similar. It's on the heels and the footsteps of football and basketball, where there's some money being thrown around, and guys it's becoming a key part of our sport, whether we like it or not, or whether we agree with it or not. It is what it is. So, those are the challenges that we face, and we're going to have to generate some funds from local business people and people that are willing to help out the program to, not only recruit guys in, but also retain our own guys as well. It's just part of the landscape that we're that we've been dealt. And, the college sports landscape, again, whether you agree with it or not, it's ever changing, and we're going to have to adjust if we're going to survive and continue to be successful.
Are you feeling any pressure now that trying to make a tournament appearance here in year 3? Obviously, you guys came so very close this season ago. You mentioned kind of the adjustments in terms of the RPI front, but do you feel any added pressure beyond just kind of the normal expectations you have for yourself in the program to make a postseason appearance this year?
That any sort of pressures you feel on that is external. So the biggest thing we do as a program is focus on our guys, and focus on playing winning baseball, and the rest of it will take care of itself. Obviously the expectations of this program are, to be successful in the postseason and then hopefully get to Omaha and bring us a national championship. But in the parity that we were faced with in college sports and specifically baseball, the challenges are tough. We have a lot of things going against us, but on the same level, we like the challenge. And so for us, putting any external, pressures on us for, having to do X, Y, and Z. We live in a world where there's pressures no matter what you look at it, or however you slice the pie. There's going to be some type of pressure. It just depends on what you want to put on yourself. And for us, we focus on playing baseball and going out and playing the best we can every day, and put up as many wins as we can, and let the chips fall where they may.
As part of that process, what are the top keys for this 2024 Centerville squad that must be achieved in order for those guys to have the season that you expect them in 2020, the season?
We try to keep it very simple, but be good at the simple stuff. Pitching standpoint, working ahead, throwing a lot of strikes, not giving up your free 90 feet, free bases, that type of thing. Offensively, a lot of contact, in the middle of the field, and being aggressive from an offensive standpoint, and defensively, obviously make the routine play, turn a double play. So if we are very good at those things, we got a chance to win and play clean. If we play clean baseball, we're going to win. If we don't, then we open ourselves up to get taken. So if we can handle the fundamental stuff and do that well, then a lot of the winning takes care of itself if you handle the fundamental things.
And last one for you. Obviously, you focused on this season right ahead of you, but this is going to be the last season of the Pac-12, and obviously, you've had great success as a player and as a player of the year in the conference. And what are your thoughts on just kind of the end of the Pac-10, Pac-12, and then also the kind of the future ahead, moving to the Big 12?
If I'm being perfectly honest, I'm partial to the Pac-12. I thought it's a wonderful conference. It's been a mainstay and a dominating conference for over 100 years. And there are more national champions in the Pac-12 than any other flash in the pan new conference or whatever you want to call it. It's the Pac-12 is the conference of champions, and we've had a ton of success as a conference for a long time. And so to see that dissolve is kind of saddening, to be honest. And I'm a West Coast guy that grew up on the West Coast, but hey, it is what it is. We have to move on, and the landscape has changed, and with that brings new opportunity. I think the Big 12 has been absolutely outstanding for us, and welcoming us into that conference. It's going to be a extremely competitive conference, in a variety of sports. And their organization skills and everything that they've showed already, just in the onboarding process, has been very, very impressive. So I think it's moving forward. It's going to be outstanding. If there is a conference that we had to dissolve the Pac-12 and move to, I think we're landing in the right spot. The Big 12 has been, again, very welcoming and very forward thinking in what they have plans to do. So from a baseball's perspective, I think it certainly doesn't hurt us. If anything, it helps us moving east, getting into Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, those states. We're going to be on ESPN streamed. All of our games will be streamed on ESPN moving forward. So from a national standpoint, we'll get a lot more exposure that way. There's just a number of things to be excited about moving forward, even after you turn the page of disappointment of the Pac-12 dissolving. So one door closes, another opens. We'll be excited to join the Big 12.